live. Hey, if you got this part of the video, you caught the live unedited edition. Home Gadget Geeks, Thursday night. It's the 5th of September. It's 8 p.m. in the Central Time Zone, 9 Eastern, 7 Mountain, 6 Pacific. You've got this any other time than that. You've got the recorded version on our YouTube channel, on a recorded YouTube channel. That's okay. All our live stuff is there. If you want to go back and watch some live episodes from the past, you can watch them there. Our Patreon subscribers get those automatically. So you can, if you want to join the Patreon team, theaverageguy.tv/Patreon. But we want to welcome you. The chat room is already fired up. Jay Franze with me. Jay, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. It's always good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
Get the good time to come on here and bust your cookies a little bit.
Yeah. No, I always enjoy the conversation with you. So thanks for coming on and appreciate it. We'll start with a pre-show pour. What have you got? What do you got in your glass tonight?
Evan Williams honey.
Oh, nice.
Gonna
nice.
give that a go tonight.
On the rocks.
On
so
the rocks, yes.
Flavor profile. Can you taste the honey? Is it a
yes,
is it
absolutely.
Yeah. Good. Delicious? You like it?
It is good. Yes, very good.
I think that's 43 or 86 proof. I think that's a little bit of honey. Evan Williams. Evan Williams actually making a really good affordable bourbon. Right? I mean, it's one of those you can pick up a 1.75 for $35, which is kind of old days pricing for a pretty good whiskey or bourbon.
I know I say it all the time here, but it's probably 25 here.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, that's the benefit of living in bourbon country.
Yeah. Well, and I've been getting in the habit. So there's a few bourbons: Jefferson's, Evan Williams, Maker's Mark, 1792, that I just buy in the big 1.75 liter bottles because it's just you can find a good price on it. It brings the overall $7.50 price down. I like to keep the price in the $20 per $7.50 range. That's kind of, I'll go 20, 25. But bourbons have gotten so expensive in this world of boutique bourbons, the post-COVID era bourbons, and so it has. I'm trying to keep it kind of reasonable, but Evan Williams is one of those.
Yeah,
they'd be a bottom shelf. Yeah, no, but they'd be pretty reasonable. John's caught the fact that I'm wearing a Chiefs hoodie, and that's right. It's opening night. The Chiefs are playing the Ravens, and it's 7. That's right. The Ravens are up. We're going to talk a little bit about streaming sports.
I don't know if I could support your Ravens, but I can. I like the hoodie.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs. And I wear this on. Make sure I wear it on Veterans Day too. Yeah. No, right on. I think the Chiefs just scored, so it's 7-7. I think it's going to be 63 to 54 probably by the time we're done tonight. I'm not sure the Ravens defense is going to have an answer for the Chiefs offense, and maybe vice versa. So anyway, so we got that going on. I have an Evan Williams. You got Evan Williams honey. I have an Evan Williams based old fashioned. So Evan Williams bottled in bond. That's their white label. That's the base of it. Add a little bit of Balcones bourbon to it. There's a little bit of Benchmark 125 in there, so high proof. So it's a half Evan Williams, a quarter Balcones, a quarter 125, and then add a little bit of Knob Creek maple, so you get kind of a smoky maple flavor associated with it. Then I've been using Dr. McCuffey's? Something, it's a cherry liqueur. I mix that with a Jim Beam orange to make so instead of doing the cherries and I just do flavored bourbons that way, right? So put those in there. I've talked about this on the show before. It's delicious, and so it's super good.
And what are you drinking it out of there?
This is I actually got this from work. It's a Yeti tumbler.
Okay.
Yeah, and the good thing about this, we use King Ice in our cocktails. And in a glass cocktail, in a tumbler, that ice would be melted by halfway into the show.
Yeah.
Tonight, that ice will last me all the way to the end of the show. So this is kind of that's actually not a bet. Now it's like $1 million for this thing, right? But this
show sponsored
a
by
little,
Yeti.
right? A little Yeti tumbler. If you're doing cocktails and stuff, it's kind of a nice way to keep. If you're using rocks on them, kind of a nice way to keep it cold. So I had for the longest time I was using a glass that said, it was a Mark Twain quote, if they don't allow me to drink bourbon and smoke cigars in heaven, then I shall not go, or something like that. And but the ice was melting too fast. I was drinking a lot more old fashions, which have an ice cube in it. So tonight we're on StreamYard. We're going to talk about that here again towards the end of the show. Have you changed it to the dark mode, or do you have a white screen on your?
I have a white screen on right now, but I did check it out, and might I say you have very nice rounded corners, sir.
Yeah, do you see the new rounded corners on it? This isn't going to last very long. Just for those of you in the pre-shows, we talk about it in the show. This may be the days of StreamYard may be numbered, but I want to take your live audience. I want to take your opinion as we talk about it. Both Jay and I use StreamYard, and they announced some pretty ridiculous pricing this week. So we'll talk a little bit about that. John, good to see you. As you guys are checking in, John, good to see you. Good evening to you. And then John Biggs is checking in. So we'll see how this goes with the Chiefs game. I'm going to keep it on, but I'll try not to get distracted by it. Tony's checking in. We have John and Tony same night. This is awesome. Nice. What a privilege. Thanks, guys, for doing that. Jay is in the chat as well. So if you want to chat with him that way, you can do that. And I think that's all. If you are in the live chat and you haven't checked in the chat room, let me know. And we'd love to see you in chat. We'll get started here in just a second. But
Jim, put my thumbnail back up for a second.
Oh, okay, hold on. That's your YouTube.
Yeah, look at the color difference in my beard.
Well, it happens.
Could that
it's probably. Listen, I started doing a beard maybe 7 years ago, and it was pretty dark. And
not any longer.
No, I have a little patch right here and a little patch on the sides, and it's going gray pretty fast here. I'm okay with it. And this up here on top has really gotten.
Okay, I don't want to hear it. I don't have anything up top. This up top is. I
was wondering what you were going to say about that. Everybody's like, yeah, but you got it. I'm like, that's true. My barber always used to say, you'll never have any problems. I've got a little fading spot back here, but I think I'm good. My dad had a pretty good head of hair till the very
first
end.
You're showing off on the tumbler, now you're showing off with the hair. I see what kind of night this is going to be.
You can already kind of see it where it's going to go. All right,
Tony, I need your help.
Chat room, stand up for Jay back there.
I need some support.
Right, let me kick this thing off. Here we go. This is the Average Guy Network, and you have found Home Gadget Geeks show number 621 with guest Jay Franze, recorded on September 5th, 2024. Here on Home Gadget Geeks, we cover all the favorite tech gadgets that find their way into your home. News, reviews, product updates, and conversation, all for the average tech guy. I'm your host, Jim Collison, broadcasting live from the AverageGuy.tv studios here in a beautiful Bellevue, Nebraska. Fall is on the way. I'm in a hoodie. Jay, you're in Kentucky, right?
I am, sir.
The weather's got to be turning for you, too. Have the trees started changing yet?
Yeah. Beautiful. Trees have just started. Okay. Like I drove down the street the other day, and it was covered in leaves. It actually looked really nice. Yeah. But I've been wearing a hoodie all summer long. I mean, my wife keeps the house like an icebox. This is probably I had a hoodie on earlier today.
Yeah.
I mean, constantly.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Actually, Sarah and Sammy both keep the house pretty cold. If it's not Sarah cold, Sammy will turn it down even more.
Right.
And I'm with you. Most nights I'm down here in a hoodie, and like, it's kind of chilly. The good news is we put in a brand new 3-ton SEER 2. That's the lowest end of the air conditioning. It's a air conditioner back in the fall of last year. And the air conditioner guy told me, oh yeah, you will definitely see a difference in your electricity bill over the summer. And he couldn't have been more right.
I got my up.
No, it went down for sure. Good. Yeah, like a third. like a third. I was like, wow, this is it was a bigger unit. It's a lot quieter. He didn't do, they changed the A-frame and the condenser. And we'll talk more in future weeks. Uyghur will come back on, talk about a soft start. He's doing that for his air conditioner. We'll talk about that in conjunction with all the stuff we're doing
We just put a full
backup.
service in too. Full thing.
Full air conditioner?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would that run you? Pretty expensive?
You know what? I got a good deal.
Oh, good.
It was 15 grand, and I got it for 7.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So
yeah,
I'll take
yeah.
7.
Yeah, I think ours was 5, but we don't have a giant house. It's pretty small, and it kind of worked for us. So we were pretty happy with it. John Biggs checking in. He just said he put his heat pump water heater cost him $14 a month. The old hot water heater was $50 a month. We talked with Paul Breeren about those new heat pump water heaters, and that may be a future show. I got to get John on the show. John, you and I, let's connect. We talked about this, but let's connect in coming weeks or the coming days. Figure out when to get you on, because I'm interested in that hot water heater, but I don't know if I can do it here. So we'll talk about that as we think about it. Anyways, we'll post the show with some world-class show notes out there at theaverageguy.tv. Big thanks to our Patreon subscribers. If you're on the Patreon team, thank you for what you do every single month. That just got paid yesterday, I think. It showed up in the account. Always appreciate it. Helps us do what I do here at theaverageguy.tv. If you want to join the Patreon team, it's super simple. One plan, go to theaverageguy.tv. It's $5. You can do it for 1 month or as long as you want. Available to you. You don't have to do it at all. If you just want to hang out, that's fine too. Check it out, theaverageguy.tv /Patreon. And then big thanks to everyone using the affiliate link over there that I posted on the site. If you go to theaverageguy.tv and look in the right-hand corner, is the affiliate link, for that big company that ships you stuff. I'm not supposed to say their name, I found out. So, that company that ships you stuff that everybody's using?
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know.
You can promote them, but you can't promote them.
Yeah. No, I was talking with Dave Jackson about it after Ask the Podcast Coach, because I have to say, since I've been talking about it, the commission rate's gone way up. So thanks to everybody who has been going out there, clicking through the link before they use that site. It's gone up like 3 or 4 fold. So thanks for doing that. But Jay, they're weird about that, right? They're like, you can't say our name, but you can be an affiliate, right? Yeah.
And they don't have to buy your product either. They just have to click to get to the site. And then anything they buy while they're on the site is attributed to you.
I know. They're so weird about it. Yeah. They are so weird about it. Anyways, big thanks to you. Been clicking through that. TheAverageGuy.tv, upper right-hand corner. You'll see the link. Click through when you're going to purchase over there. And, of course, that helps out the network as well. Big thanks to TJ Huddleston. For some reason, I woke up on Friday morning. I won't do this with you, Jay, but on Friday morning of last week, I woke up and I thought, did I call him JT the whole episode? And no, I called him TJ. But so TJ, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. A good show. TJ did a great job last week. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. 6:20 and get that done. Jay, welcome back. Good to have you.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Anything new in your world?
There's so much new in my world, sir.
Yeah. Did you get that fire pit finished?
Jim, stop.
Not that new, huh?
No, the air condition wiped the fire pit out of play.
Oh, no. Okay.
I mean, the air conditioner, we were so lucky with that air conditioner because it went out like the week before things started getting hot. So, and I wouldn't have noticed, but my wife being, the icebox queen, she noticed it and she said, it's out. So we tested it. It was out. They came, we replaced the entire unit. We have insurance on it, but the insurance wasn't that good apparently.
Okay.
So we shopped around, we got a good deal, and we got the air conditioner, but therefore we have no fire pit.
Yeah. Well,
I have the stuff for the fire pit. So
yeah.
I feel like I've made some progress. I have some of the stuff for the fire pit.
Yeah. Well, the fall's coming up. You're going to want to put that fire pit in when it's
5-6 more years. I'll have it done.
Right?
We can talk about it.
You'll have it done. Did you, with the new air conditioner, did you do any new like thermostats or
yes.
have you been using? Okay. What'd you
smart
put in?
One. It's what'd you put in? A digital one. If you tell me the brands, is it Goodman? Goodman
I've
is
never heard
the
of them
unit I
before.
think we have.
Okay.
And it has a digital thermostat. It's remote operated too. Doesn't
Okay.
work very well,
Yeah.
but it does have an app for it that you can put
Okay.
on the phone, and you can turn it on from
Anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And it works. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it maintains temperature much better than the old one did. So if you put it on like my wife's 60 something, it maintains that
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is
Yeah.
running at all times.
The newer units are way more efficient, right? I mean, this
Very
is one
much
of those
so.
things. If you have a 20-year-old air conditioner, it's probably just sucking down power. You'd be surprised how quick. Well, I shouldn't say it that way because it does. You think new air conditioners $5,000 to $10,000. Just depends on what you're getting in your area, whatever, right? Those kinds of things. Takes a lot
Is
of
that
energy.
inside and out?
What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean?
The inside unit as well as the outside unit?
Yeah, I think so. You replaced both, right? You had to get when
Yeah,
you
we did
replaced your
both.
outside unit, you did both, and you paid 7 or 8, right?
We paid
Something like that?
7, but the insurance was going to get 15, and a
Oh.
few of the quotes were all 15.
Okay.
So it was
Okay.
7 for inside, 7 for out, and the one company did 7 for both.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. So yeah, 5 to 10 is like your mileage might vary. I was able to get mine for 5. That's inside and out.
Again,
for
you're
5.
showing off. I get it.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Like I have a good HVAC guy. Apparently, I didn't know it was that good of a deal, right? Although I did ask him, we've told this story before, but I did ask him if he could I said, would you install a smart thermostat? And he goes, no, I don't like those. He's kind of old school, right? He's like, no, I don't like those. And I said, well, with the current furnace setup, can I install it myself? And he's like, I don't know. So I had to get one of his techs who came in for the service. I said, hey, can you look at that and see, can I? And no, I mean, it's the 3-wire and I need 4. You can do a 3-wire thing. I was like, I'm just going to stick with my current thermostat. So, well, at least you're having a new one can be a really good upgrade. And if you can get a great deal on one, now may be a good time to do it. John in chat says, John Biggs says, you may be able to deduct part of the new AC cost on your taxes. So make sure at the end of the year, there are some tax credits for things like that. It has to be a certain size and a certain SEER and some of those kinds of things, right? Maybe worth doing a little bit of homework. You may get a 30% up to a 30% tax credit.
See, then I can get myself in your price range.
Yeah. Or you can use that tax credit to finish out the the fire pit. The fire pit.
I want to do it, so I swear, if I don't have it going this fall, I'm not going to have it done ever.
No, you will. You will. If not this fall, we'll get you in the spring. We'll get you there. Jay will get you there. Hey, Jay, a couple emails came in over the week. Having you on, it's a great opportunity to work through these emails. I want to get your take on them as well. Both of the emails are from Neil. Neil is super faithful to send me an email almost every show with a little bit of a recap with kind of his thoughts on it. If you want to do that, you can send me an email. I love it when you do. I don't respond to all of them, but I still love it when you send me your thoughts. Jim@theaverageguy.tv, and sometimes I might even get read on the show. So Neil says this. He says, hi, Jim, another great tech podcast. This is in reference to last week's podcast with TJ. He says, just look at the chapter headings, which I've been putting in the show notes, the world-class show notes, by the way. Says an amazing broad range of topics. Keep it up. Few comments on do-it-yourself wiring. He says, our pre-Civil War home was purchased from the owner of a commercial HVAC outfit. He had his employees install a subpanel in the attic to feed a new heat pump. They found it too inconvenient to put the ground wires on the ground bar, and they pretty much put the neutral and ground where they could easily be reached on the neutral bar. So I felt really good that I could fix that myself, which is just separating those on 2 different bars. I learned that on Reddit in a sub panel that you don't bond ground with the neutral. Okay, so check before we say that's the truth everywhere. Just make sure you check your local codes for your wiring applications, because there are times when you would bond them together and there are times that you wouldn't. So this isn't a wiring show. had erratic outlets, and I found a junction box where there was no lid, and one of the twist-on connectors had come off. When we had our barn built with permits, he says, the heated horse water appliances were wired without GFCI. Anytime you do wiring, you need a GFCI outlet associated with that for protection. So bottom line, I trust myself more than so-called professionals for typical work on the house or barn. Although I do find when you're paying professionals to do work for you and when they're doing work for themselves, sometimes that's two completely different things, right? Jay, have you run into that where you've had to uncover somebody else's wiring job? Are you a wiring guy at all? Do you try to do any of your own wiring?
I did go to engineering school, audio engineering school, so not electrical engineering. Let's be perfectly clear. So I learned how to do things like your mic cable, your XLR cables, these microphones, things like that. But I was never big into electrical work. But I did have this room that I'm sitting in was built by a local guy here. And he came in and he did bring in somebody to do the electrical and stuff. But I wouldn't, other than the lights turning on, I wouldn't be able to tell you if they did a good job or not.
Sure.
Yeah. It looked like every other site I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, you don't find out until you dig into it, right? Or something goes wrong.
Yeah,
but, generally wiring's actually pretty, if I can do it, most people can do it. It's actually pretty easy. There's just a couple rules to follow. Now, that being said, if you're afraid of wiring, be afraid of it. It will absolutely put a hurting on you if you do it wrong. So you don't know anything about it, get a buddy, find an electrician. It's definitely worth paying someone to do some of that work for you. Codes vary from place to place. I had done some wiring here and had an electrician come in and he goes, that's code, that's not. I was like, oh, okay. Could you just fix that for me then? And what was not code was I was using the blue plastic conduit as opposed to the gray plastic conduit. Now, I don't know why gray plastic conduit's any different than blue plastic conduit, but in Bellevue, Nebraska, you can only use gray. Yeah.
I did my own electrical, the outlets. I've changed a few lights in the house. I can do the extreme basics.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm happy when I do things like the mic cables. That impresses me.
Yeah.
So
No, it's
it
kind of understanding some basics. Even with house wiring today, there's a lot of good YouTubers who are really, really helpful in this area of showing you how to do it. And I've watched many of them as I'm getting ready to put this 50 amp service in for the generator that we're going to install here later, probably in the spring. Been getting prepped for it, just making sure I got my P's and Q's. No, T's, I's dotted, T's crossed, that thing.
I's dotted, T's crossed, P's, Q's.
Yeah.
You're good.
I want to make sure that I'm up to speed. That wiring is one of those areas you can get some good advice on. But super great. And Ken, you're super late. I don't know where you've been, but welcome. We're glad to see you, Ken. Usually he's the first one here. So welcome, Ken. That is one of those things, some basic wiring you can tackle. Again, if you're not comfortable with it, don't do it. But Neil, thanks for sending in that email. You're right. I think sometimes professionals cheat a lot on their own stuff. Guess because they do it all the time. Right? Just so if your house is owned by an electrician, you should probably have all the wiring checked at that point. From the week before, Neil also checks and he says, hey, me again, been using OneDrive to collect photos from my phone. And every month I would move the month's photos from my server and delete it from the OneDrive. But it kept deciding it needed to send all of my photos again for some reason. And of course, they didn't all fit into my free limits of OneDrive. After setting up local send, Mike Weir talked about that 3 weeks ago on the show. If you haven't checked that out, you might want to do that local send. On my server and iPhone, I found it quite handy to archive a month's supply of photos. I used the date view in my gallery, chose a month's worth of photos, and shared them to local send. On the server side, then cut and paste them into a folder with the month number. Easy peasy, he says. The only hitch the only hitch what I had was needing to open a port on my server, which is not among troubleshooting tips they provided. But once done, all good. But like you, I not touch anything around natural gas. We were talking about setting up the the generator. I do electricity, but I won't do gas. That's I know I can't do gas. I don't.
Right.
That's not going to work. But Jay, do you do anything with your photos? Do you have a photo routine?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. When he's talking about that, it sounds like he's saying that he's initiating the backup.
Yeah.
So mine backs up automatically,
Yeah.
and I don't have to initiate it. And yes, to answer your question, I use the Apple products. I've used Dropbox, those basic things, in Google, and I have the Microsoft stuff, but I don't typically use it. And that could be a whole subject on its own, is whether or not that whole Microsoft world is still worth it to me. I still get the bill every month, and I don't know if I'm using it quite as I should any longer.
Yeah.
But Apple, I definitely use, and I upgraded the storage size for the whole family, so we've got several terabyte now, and it's reasonably priced, and it backs stuff up, and I don't have to do a single thing. Just tell it what I want backed up one time, and it's good.
Yeah.
So I like doing that. And then one other piece just to add to that is I use my own server too as backup for certain things. So where I store my website, I can also create folders and store things there, but that's a manual process.
Yeah. Yeah. I find with photos, everybody has their kind of their own thing, the way they want to organize them. I don't know about you, but since the modern era with a smartphone, every picture is 3 pictures. I don't take just one, right? You go click, click, click. And then you think, well, I'm going to keep the best one. No, you keep them all, right? You don't go back and delete any of those things. I'll be honest, I've kind of stopped trying to archive photos. Like I'm kind of like, well, I don't know. I mean, I have them on Facebook. The kids do Snapchat. We have some things on Discord.
Do you use
I don't have a
Canva
good
at all?
No. I mean, I do. I've created this image up here with Canva.
The
But
reason I ask, I create a lot of stuff on Canva, and every time I download it, it gets saved into my photos album,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then that gets backed up, and I end up
yeah,
with like hundreds and hundreds of thumbnails in my
yeah,
photos. I used to be much better at organizing them back when iPhoto first came out on the computer. I would have folders for everything, the year, the folder, the events, and I was really, really good at organizing everything. Same thing with music, and I don't really focus on any of that anymore. Now it just backs up, and if
yeah,
I need it, I
yeah,
search for it.
yeah. I I don't care. I kind of don't care about pictures anymore. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I'm kind of like I take them, we view them. I really only take them to send them to people, and I don't know. I've gotten in a weird funk, maybe since COVID, where I'm kind of like, if they exist, awesome. If they don't exist, awesome.
I've seen my family enough now.
I know, really. I just it's weird. I know. Now, listen, a guy like Tony Rayner, if you follow him at all on Instagram, he takes a ton of pictures, and he's he does a lot of things, yeah, on Instagram, on Twitter with his pictures. I just don't take. I think I took my first picture the other day. I was out in the backyard and was looking at. We've done a whole bunch of sunflowers this year, and
Nice.
a bee had gotten into the sunflowers, and it just must have got drunk because he was rolling. It looked like he had rolled. I mean, he literally had pollen everywhere, and he couldn't even move. And he's hanging off the bottom of the sunflower. I should maybe at some point I'll have you talk, and I'll bring that picture up. But I took that picture.
You
Maybe
have
the
a
first
picture?
picture. Yeah, I do have a picture. But that's maybe the first picture I've taken. It's not my family. It's not my kids. It's a bee that's covered in pollen, right?
It's
Kind of
great. My
sad.
wife is a photographer. I mean, she's been a professional photographer for years, and she would take photos, and she has all the traditional hard drive backup stuff,
Yeah.
and she
Yeah,
does
yeah.
cloud stuff. She does it all. But she's not even doing that as much as she used to. And I
Mhm.
find with her as well as myself, she does it with Facebook, I do it with Instagram. that if I have a picture that I think is worth keeping, it usually ends up on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can just use Instagram as
Mm-hmm.
my
Yeah.
archive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I don't use Instagram very much. I have a bunch of old photos from there. I'm not posting anything to Facebook anymore. I really make very few posts. I do a lot of posts for work.
yeah,
So, like, if you followed me on Facebook, all you would see is a bunch of work posts. I'm answering people's questions, doing community management, and I'm not posting anything to Twitter anymore. So, like, that's gone. So those things aren't showing up. Ken says, kind of goes back to the whole dark side. Who's going to look at these things when I'm gone, right?
well,
And you got to kind of,
that's the thing right there.
yeah, you got to kind of wonder, right? Your kids will enjoy them for, okay, I'm going to go dark for just a second. The kids are literally going to enjoy them one time for about a day, right? It's the day after your funeral. They're going to get access to your digital content. They're going to, oh, these are cool. And that's the last time they're, well, maybe for some, that'll be the last time they're ever going to look at them. And again, that's dark. Maybe for other families, it'll be different.
She collected every photo album my family had when my mother passed away and stuff. She took all the photo albums, and her intent is to digitize them and put them somewhere. But they sit in my house. They sit in boxes. And occasionally we go into them. She went into it the other day and found my high school photo and sent it to me so people at work could make fun of me.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
There's a purpose.
Yeah. No, some old. Yeah, there's just some old stuff that I don't know. You listen, if you got a different opinion, send me an email like Neil did, jim@theaverageguy.tv. I'd love to hear from you. And as we can, we will. Oh, look at that! As we'll read them on the show. All right, hold on. We got to go big. We got to go big screen on this. Look at that!
Look at the hair. See, I
what
had
year
hair
is
at one
that,
point.
Jay? What year is that?
I graduated in '87, so this picture is probably '86.
Okay, you're just a year younger than me.
Younger than you?
Yeah. I graduated in '86. That's high school, right?
Yeah, maybe I just stayed back.
I was an '86er. Yeah. No. Yeah, just a year. You're just a year younger than me. You're just a lad, as my daughter would say. So, anyways, if you got some comments on that, send me the email, jim@theaverageguy.tv. Jay, we talked about it at the beginning of the show. For folks who are watching us live and watching the video, for the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, a while, we've been using StreamYard, right? We came off of, at least I came off of Google Hangouts. StreamYard was an early adopter in this. We jumped into that. It was free at first. I think I may have paid $5 a month for a while. They offered a plan a while back for $10 a month. Jumped at that. That allowed me to get rid of the watermarks and some other things. They have new ownership over there at StreamYard, and
that's too bad.
now they offer dark mode. You now have 4K recording, not streaming. We're still streaming 720 to YouTube at this point. We could be recording in 1080. Yeah, we could. Oh, can you? Okay. I don't. On the $10 plan, I think the streaming is 720. For this kind of podcasting, I don't think it matters.
$10 plan.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. I got grandfathered, right? I got grandfathered in. You and I both got an email, I would imagine, in the last week that said, hey, friends, they got bought. StreamYard got bought by Bending Spoons. No, is that the right? Yes.
Yeah, Something Spoons.
Something Spoons. And the plans went from, well, at least my plan went from $10 to $45 a month starting the end of September, which, as we're recording this, is just about 3 weeks away, and I'm going to have some decisions to make as far as what I do. Jay, any thoughts on like 10 to 45?
Dude,
that seems a little steep, right?
I was paying the 45 or whatever, 49 for the larger plan, and only because they offered other things like separate audio tracks. They offered multiple cameras. Those are the two things that I really benefited from having thought the larger package was worth it. But it's $49 a month. I paid yearly, so I was paying $480 something. Okay. Well, it just came up for renewal, and I knew they were changing ownership, and I know Gage is no longer there. And by the way, Gage and team, they were so nice, and the company was so easy to work with.
They were great. Dan and Gage both were awesome. Yeah, it was a really great company.
So, yeah, bending spoons. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I paid for the premium plan and I paid for it yearly. So just recently, it was coming up for renewal last month. So I switched it to the lower plan, or I switched it to the monthly plan, and they still charged me for the full year. They didn't charge me 480; they charged me like 443, so a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
But they still charged me for the year, so I had to go back and say, look, I switched to the lower plan. They wouldn't change it back, so I had to go to the bank and say, hey, look, I switched to monthly, and finally I got the money back. And then they put me in the $25 plan. I said, no, I wanted the $49 plan. So they switched me. And then, like you said, this week I get an email saying, oh, by the way, we're putting you in this higher plan. It was like $89 a month.
Yep.
And you have to opt out of it, but you automatically get entered into it. And if you want the monthly or the yearly price, you'll save a shekel or two, but it's extreme.
Yeah.
And all the other plans, just to put it in perspective, are like $10 to $25. And then this one is now $49 to $89. And it's, as much as I love StreamYard, I don't believe that the new company is putting the care that Dan and Gage and team put into it. Now I do like the rounded corners. So
the rounded corners you're seeing, I put those up on purpose because they had always been square, and we also have the ability, besides the 4K and the multi-track, right? That the behind the scenes stuff. What folks might see is dark mode. Like you and I both have the ability to, which I love actually tonight.
See, I don't have it on. I should put it on just to test it out.
Yeah, the white blinding light that had always been a part of StreamYard, which I never could figure out why it took them so long to get to dark mode. But they used all of these new features to justify this. Now, can they do this? Yes, they absolutely can. Was it the right decision? I don't know. We'll find out. On the flip side of things, I got a different email at work. So we use StreamYard for Gallup, and I'm the account holder for it. And it could not have been a nicer email of saying, "Hey, we're making some price changes." Oops, Jay just closed himself out, changing over to dark mode. We'll get Jay back here in just a second. But I got this email from them. Here, we'll get Jay back in. It's okay.
Don't try to go to dark mode in the middle of the show.
Did it close you out in the middle of it?
Yep.
Okay.
So
well, now we
will
know.
not do that.
Now we know. The reason I bring this up on the show tonight, one, it's such a part of the things we've been doing as this community. Two, StreamYard had kind of become a mainstream video, not just recording, but sharing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do with it. And Jay, I think I think we're going to see some price increases across the board when I looked into Riverside. I looked into Zoom to do, and by the way, Zoom is doing this now. You can record and publish it to YouTube, stream it live on YouTube. I could use Zoom for this as well. Ecamm is another one. That's what I'm leaning towards right now. Ecamm has a $16 plan. What's a $16 plan?
But it's so much more complex than...
Yeah, but I wouldn't use the complexity of it. I would set up this frame. This is all I ever do on Home Gadget Geeks, right? I was going to say, let me finish the story. And then, so the business email I got from them was, hey, prices are going to go up, but because you've been such a great business customer, we're going to grandfather you in for a year, and your price is basically going to be the same as you had before. And I thought, that's an interesting strategy. All the price sensitive podcasters who don't really want to pay for anything anyways, right? We're all super, I'm complaining about it right now. And yet at work, of course, because work's paying for it, I'm like, yeah, let's get all the good stuff. That's right. I mean, they kind of know what they're doing, I think, when it comes to which wheels do you grease at this point. And I think maybe they're looking forward to letting some of the $10, the cheap plans, the freeloaders,
go away.
Yeah. I think it's a kind of a business strategy. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're right with the strategy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think what I would like to see, is when Gage and Dan were part of it, they developed a community. They had their weekly show where they took advice, and I met them at all the different podcasting events and stuff like that. They were always super nice. They took tons of notes, and they made the adjustments and the suggestions they took right away. Where I don't see this company necessarily doing that. Who knows? They might.
No.
But my thing with this company is if you're going to keep improving things, that would be one thing. But if you're going to just stick at this level and never advance, but up the price, that would be a different thing.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
The corners, the dark mode, being able to put things in a smaller square or circle, those type of things, those are great. And I think those are the type of things that Gage and Dan would put up. They would do routinely. They would just add them, week after week after week. So it's good to see some of that. But they did lay off quite a bit of their team.
They did,
which indicates that they're probably not going to put too much into development.
No, I think this may be it. We'll have to see. The pricing for the business plan is going to last me a year, so I've got a year there. I will have made a decision. I was chatting with Ed Sullivan, good friend of mine, friend of the show here, and we, we're kind of like, I mean, from an inexpensive streaming option, I could go OBS. That's even more complicated, right? Or I could go Ecamm. That's probably the next step in. It's $16 a month to be able to do it that way. And then Riverside is $24, and if you want to add streaming, it's $10 more, so that's $35. So you're all of a sudden.
Have you tried? There's others. I know you guys tried EV Mux the other day.
EV Mux. I could try EV Mux. Do you know what their pricing is?
Yeah, it's low. It's like 10 to 25 or somewhere around there.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to look at it.
Restream?
Nope. No.
Restream is almost an identical version of StreamYard.
Okay.
I was using that beforehand. There's some quirks to it that I did not necessarily, like or dislike, but their comments window, you can have it floating. You don't need to actually even use the platform to use the comments.
Yeah.
So we would use vMix, and vMix is a little bit more professional end. And vMix worked. It's very good software. It's very, very high end, but it's like what's the one you just said you wanted to use? I forgot the name.
Ecamm.
It's like Ecamm, where it uses the power of your home-based computer to run it. Where StreamYard and Restream in EV Mux, they use the cloud.
Yeah.
So I like the cloud base because it doesn't require the power of somebody's individual computer, especially when you're dealing with guests. You don't want to have that. Yeah. Now, the guest wouldn't have to be faced with that, but you would. And when we used vMix, we have a video playing in the background. So it's just a simple city. You see cars driving, and you see bars floating across the screen. It's just to add a little bit of visual eye candy. It's not for any other purpose. But that would drain the local computer when we used vMix, and it would routinely crash. So to me, it wasn't worth having it. But when we got StreamYard and it used the cloud, it works like a champ. Now it can't be as long. StreamYard they limit the amount of time you can have. I don't remember what the time is for their
4 hours. I think.
No, the video background.
Oh, okay.
You have the average guy right there, Home Gadget Geeks.
Yeah.
You can have a video there, and it was small. It was like maybe 7 or something seconds. It wasn't a long time.
Well, Christian's coming on next week, and so I will probably we'll probably be trying out one of those services next week, and then Marv B is joining me on the 19th. We'll probably try another one, and then I'll have to make a decision because the invoice is due on the 25th, and I got a show on the 26th. So I'll have to make a decision. Again, I bring this up. Dave Jackson and I will probably spend a bunch of time talking about this on Saturday on Ask the Podcast Coach. And yeah, this is kind of a podcaster conversation, but I think from a tech standpoint, a lot of you listen to podcasters. Some of you may even have podcasts, and I think it's something you'll need to think about. This is a big deal StreamYard has become a mainstay in the space. Ken said sounds like a similar thing when LastPass was bought out. What a shame. Yeah. Time will tell, Ken, on the new owners and what they do with StreamYard. I may put some clickbait on the link on the title to this show just to see if I can get their attention. To see what they say.
No, you say that too, like it's a podcaster thing, but we use it at work.
Okay.
We use it a lot in place of Zoom.
Yeah.
So StreamYard allows you to do web broadcasts. You don't just have to do the streaming stuff. You can do an actual, like a conference or, we use it for that purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also use it for just individual one-on-one instead of using Zoom. And because of the app, I can use it on the phone. It's just a very, very convenient thing. It's not just for podcasting, but yeah, it really, really helps podcasting and makes video podcasts look so much nicer.
Well, we've done it. We were early days Google Hangouts. I did Google Hangouts at work from the beginning to the very end of Hangouts. And I kind of thought, I almost looked into, I have a Google Enterprise account because I've got some things with them. And I thought, maybe I can go back to Hangouts. That they still exist. It's only available on the Enterprise plan. I didn't realize somebody at work had me like, hey, Zoom does broadcast to YouTube now. I had no idea they were doing that. That's definitely a bolt-on to Zoom type deal. That was not their first competency, and you got to kind of wonder, like, a Zoom experience is pretty bad for podcasting. I think would be pretty bad. You don't have any control of the screens. Screens are moving around based on the view. They have different views that you can pick. Individuals can pick different views. So I wouldn't think that'd be a great experience, right?
And the audio and video quality aren't as high as the others.
Yeah.
Riverside has that under control. I mean, they focus on the quality. You get individual WAV files, you get 2448 files, which for those who don't know, are just a higher quality, a higher sample of audio. So it sounds better. Would the naked ear hear the difference? Probably not. Where you'll notice the difference is when you manipulate the audio after the fact. You can do more to the audio when you're editing it, when you're cutting up pieces, when you're making videos, when you're using it in different places. So I like that feature. And even StreamYard does 2448 WAV files now, and they do separate. You just have to pay for the larger plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? Like conversations like this, we're talking just the two of us. I have a Rodecaster Pro next to me, so I can record the session on the Rodecaster itself, and it'll record me on one channel and you on another channel, and that's great. So you don't have to pay StreamYard for the extra tracks. The problem is I had a team of 3 guests on the other day, and StreamYard switched that plan without me knowing, and I no longer had the separate tracks. And you don't get separate tracks. You only get the stereo file when it goes to the Rodecaster.
Right.
So I had to do some creative editing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were dependent on those tracks.
I was, absolutely.
Yeah. We're doing more and more of that. I do feel like some of this podcasting technology is starting to bleed into normal people's lives and the way we do things. And I think that's just going to become a more and more important part of recording things and the way we do stuff and recording conversations. Jay, I got to tell you, I mean, listen, I lived on LinkedIn. That's part of my job
you and me both,
is to be on LinkedIn all the time. Right. I'm seeing more and more LinkedIn lives pop up all the time. Everybody's doing LinkedIn lives, right? Do you get that feeling?
Oh, hands down. You know, and what's funny is with LinkedIn, I don't know if it's still this way because I have access now, but it took the longest time to get access so you could stream a video.
Yeah.
You weren't able to do it at the beginning, and it wasn't open to everybody. You had to have so many connections. You had to have it had to be big enough for them to warrant it. And now it seems like everybody can do it, which is obviously better because everybody can do it. But the problem is now you got to weed through a whole bunch of stuff to find something that seems to be quality.
Yeah.
And that's another benefit of StreamYard is you can go to LinkedIn, which you can do with most of the others as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I pulled it up here. I don't know if you've pulled it up yet, but Restream, they've got a free plan and a $16 plan.
So, is it Restream.io?
Yes. So you got Restream starts at 0 and EV Mux is 0 and 19.
Yeah. And I may have to try free plans. What I ought to do is starting next week, start with Ecamm, go through their free plan for a couple weeks, try it out. Because 1 week's not enough, right? You got to give it a couple tries. So, live listeners, I'm just warning you, maybe doing some different technologies over the next couple weeks. I'll be honest with you, I may end up staying on StreamYard. I hate to pay the $45, but I like it so much. You know, it does really work well. It makes a lot of sense just because of the business plan. We use it. We use StreamYard a ton at work. We have a 40-hour, 50-hour time limit. I think it's 50, and we're constantly butting up against that 50 hours of storage. Have to go back to a couple months, delete some stuff out to get it out of the way. So we use StreamYard a ton at work. I can justify that. I can't justify it for Home Gadget Geeks. It's tough for me, to justify $45 a month for 4 podcasts, a month. It just is. It's tough for me. So
I can justify it. I can't get my wife to justify
it. There you go. Yeah. And I may come back to it. It works really, really well, and I may come back to it. It just would be, I don't know. I'd love to hear from you if you got some ideas on it. One, next Saturday on Ask the Podcast Coach, I guarantee you. So go to askthepodcastcoach.com/live, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. If you're interested in that conversation, I'm sure Dave and I are going to talk about this. But anyways, I just thought I'd bring it up. It affects you guys listening live. For the podcast listeners, probably not so much. You get the audio either way. You have no idea how we do this, so that doesn't really matter. Yeah. And then if you're watching on YouTube, for the couple hundred that do it every week on YouTube, we'll figure something out along those lines. All right. Jay, let me transition a little bit. As we speak, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I have the Chiefs Baltimore Ravens game up on a monitor up here. Of course I do. I have 11 monitors. And so I've got the Chiefs game up. That's why I'm wearing, for video folks, I'm wearing Chiefs gear tonight. It's the kickoff of the 2024-25 NFL season. Streaming has come to an interesting place. And I think it's still changing all the time. We think about TV, movies, and sports. I think, right? Those are kind of the 3 categories we put stuff in. Paramount has been trying to sell itself for a while out there. I think we've come to the point with streaming technology. Everybody who's going to jump in is probably in. And I think we may be in a consolidation phase over the next couple years. But Jay, let me ask you, when you think about TV, movies, and sports, how are you getting that today?
That's a good one. We've tried everything under the sun, just like all of the rest of the stuff. And we initially did it to save money, like everybody else. We just you get Netflix, $7. We don't need cable anymore. Yeah. And you start thinking like that, and we cut cable, and then realize now we want Hulu, and now we want Disney, or this one or that one, and now we're probably paying more than we ever did for cable, I'm sure. So we get them through all the streaming services. We've cut down, and recently the only one I find myself watching of all of them, which is a surprise to me, is YouTube. I watch more YouTube than I do anything else.
Yeah.
My wife we used to all watch Netflix. I have 3 kids, and my wife, the 3 kids, we would watch Netflix. We don't even do that. And even our TV, we have Samsung TVs, and I've got one above me. That's why I just looked up. Yeah. But we have Samsung TVs, and they come with a live TV feature built into it. So we get that. It streams, just like anything else. So I feel like we get live TV, we get YouTube. We have a few of the streaming services currently left. And honestly, the only one I ever watch is YouTube. My family watches maybe one or two other things, but I watch YouTube for sure.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. Okay, I'm going to take a risk on this. I kind of wonder if this is a man versus woman, the way we consume content, because, John says I watch YouTube and Star Trek on Paramount Plus. Which, John, it'll be interesting to see where Paramount goes in the next couple months, right? With this, he still has cable, but I hear from a lot of guys, they've kind of just converted over to YouTube.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, okay, I'm watching live sports right now. It's on NBC tonight, so I'm in channels. We've had John from Channels on before. I'm still a Channels subscriber, and so that's how I'm watching the game. But if it was streaming on Amazon Prime, I would have a browser window open and be watching it on Amazon Prime. It could be on YouTube TV, which I don't have. I haven't paid for that. It could be on ESPN or ESPN Plus, right? Which is, I think, a Disney property. So it could have been there, although I don't think.
Isn't Hulu now too?
Maybe Hulu is in there. Disney? Yeah. I hear from a lot of guys. Let me know in the chat room. Let me know where you guys are going. We'll bring these in this kind of discussion. Jay, I'm with you. I kind of, and Baltimore just missed a field goal, by the way. No spoilers, but Tucker just missed a field goal.
No spoiler, but.
Yeah. Yeah. It's still 13-7 Chiefs. So here's the interesting thing for me. I'm actually not a big live TV watcher. I don't like to watch sports on TV. It's too stressful for me. I don't enjoy it. I would rather let the game play. I see what the score is at the end. If we won or the team that I like wins, I'll go back and watch the game summary. Guess where? On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Right? Yeah, I'll watch. And in 10 minutes, this game is going to be 3 hours tonight. I mean, it started at 7:30. It won't be finished by the time we finish this show. It'll still be, it'll just be in the third quarter.
So we'll stay on just to see what the end is.
Yeah.
See the outcome.
That's not going to happen. Yeah. I don't typically watch sports live anymore. It's just too stressful for me. I kind of wait for the scores to come out, and then it's way more efficient just to watch the 10-minute summary on YouTube, right?
I'm a Red Sox fan, and I found myself doing that on Instagram. I would just follow them on Instagram and watch all the highlights, the home runs and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And it was fine, but I like going to see sports in person. So, I'd prefer to do it that way. But if I'm going to watch a football game, if I'm going to watch it on TV, I'd prefer to watch it live.
Yeah.
But there are some things I like watching live.
Good. Yeah.
I was just going to say some things I like watching live, like on YouTube. And you mentioned Dave. You guys do the show on the weekend. I watch that on YouTube. I don't listen to the podcast. But other podcasts that you guys do, I listen to. Like this one, I watch. Because when there's a live element like this, I would prefer to watch it. Even if it's just two talking heads like this, I prefer to watch. Get involved. And that's the other thing. Like the chat room's amazing.
Yeah.
So when I'm not watching, I like to be in the chat room. Or when I'm not on it, I like to be in the chat room and participate, ask questions or things like that. So for shows like this, I much prefer to watch it live.
Yeah.
But then there's other shows, like I find myself watching a lot of educational show or listening to a lot of educational shows and watching on YouTube. I watch a lot of those. But then at night, if it's going to be time to relax or work on a computer or something, I don't pull up a movie. I pull up like a long form interview, or what YouTube calls a podcast. I guess we can skip that argument tonight. But I watch all the long form interviews, like the Tim Ferriss style stuff or things like that. So I enjoy watching YouTube for those things, and I just recently splurged for the premium. So now I don't have to sit through the commercials, but even the commercials didn't really bother me.
Well, that's the whole other thing with streaming. Like more and more commercials are coming on, and there's more and more services that are wanting you to pay more to get rid of the ads. And then even though you still pay, there's still ads. It's in some regards, Jay. We wanted this decoupling of cable, right? We wanted a la carte, and what we've gotten, I'm not sure is better. You know. Now,
I
some
think
people may say it
technology
is.
wise is probably. I don't think it's better. I just think
Yeah,
it's different. I like the
yeah,
portability. I
yeah,
like being able to take it with me.
yeah.
I like being able
True,
to access
true,
it on a phone.
true. Yeah,
You can
that's
sit
true.
anywhere.
That's true. Yeah,
That's the stuff I like about it. But as
a lot
far
more
as like
options.
a quality to sit down and actually watch, it's much better to watch something on cable. It's
Yeah.
a much better experience to sit down, just turn on a movie and have no hiccups and that stuff.
No buffering,
Right, right.
right, those kinds of things. Couple things coming in from the chat room. John Biggs says, so my wife only watches Hallmark on cable. And then Tony says, yeah, 100% the same for me. YouTube Premium for the win. That is a pretty great experience, but you're paying $80 a month, right?
No,
For
don't say
YouTube,
that.
for
No,
YouTube
I pay like
Premium?
15, I think.
No, not for YouTube.
Yes.
No. No, you better check. You better check, my
Don't
friend.
don't
There's
tell
no
me that because then
there's
I'll.
no $15 out there
No,
anymore.
it just got hot in
Yeah.
here. I can feel the sweat.
Yeah, Tony says I can't get my wife to cancel YouTube TV. And I'm thinking about YouTube TV and maybe not YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium, I think, is the music service, where YouTube TV is the TV service. So
It's
you might
13.99, Jim. Thirteen
for
ninety nine.
you, but that's not TV.
That's premium, just YouTube Premium, not the
That's
TV.
to get the ads out of
Yes,
YouTube. Right,
yes.
right, right. Okay, there we go. So YouTube Premium gets the ads out.
Dude,
YouTube
trying to get me
TV.
divorced?
I love it.
Maybe,
I love it.
maybe I should get the TV then.
John says it's a little more expensive. John says Discovery Plus is his most watched service.
Mhm.
Um,
I like things like that because I like the more reality stuff, the documentary style stuff.
yeah. Tony says I can cancel. This is one of these things that's changed. I can cancel any of these services without calling cable and begging. And that is true, right? It's so much easier. Sign up for one of these services and just cancel it, right? Because it's all done through the app. So that makes it nice. John says I'm grandfathered into YouTube Premium for $9 a month. Nice
See?
job, John. Yeah. I wonder when that's going to end. Well, 9 to 13 is not that big of a deal.
Right. No, hey,
Yeah.
I'm okay
Yeah.
with it. They also have it higher. It says $29 a month for a family plan and
Yep. Yep.
$7.99 a month for students.
Ooh, that's like Prime for students.
Yeah,
Listen, a
my wife is
student Prime
finishing her
deal.
master's, so she's got the prime student.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, Prime student's pretty good deal, to be honest. If you can order it through your kids if they're in college, that's a great way to go. Well, I want to hear what you think about streaming, whether you're going to throw it into the comments down below on YouTube if you're watching YouTube. Just send me a note, jim@theaverageguy.tv. If you want to email it to me, you can throw it. Many of you have been chatting in the chat room. Appreciate you guys doing that. I think, Jay, I think it's time to review for most folks. It's time to review the way we stream. I think a lot of folks have signed up for a lot of streaming services and they no longer know what they're paying for. And I think if you start adding up those, because they've all raised prices over the last couple years, especially post pandemic, you might be in the hundreds of dollars.
That's what I'm saying. We pay much
Right?
more than we did for cable.
Yeah.
Absolutely, hands down.
And you're happy. You're happy to pay for it.
I don't know
Or you
if I
just used to
am.
be angry with cable. Right?
I'm
You're
happy
just
with YouTube. I'll pay the $13.99 to not have commercials and watch
yeah.
it. But I was fine without
Does
it too.
does your YouTube Premium come with music? YouTube
Yes.
Music? Yeah. Yeah. Well, there you go.
And
There
you
you
know where I don't. It's not like I use it because we have Spotify too. Another one that. Here's the other thing. Spotify came with Hulu with my wife, and I got HBO with my phone service with AT&T. So we've got those that were just bundled in with something else. But YouTube Music came with this plan I just signed up for, the premium plan. Where I notice I use it is when I'm driving in the car and I tell the woman in my phone to play it. So I can just say, hey, play such and such on YouTube Music, and it'll play it. That's the where I use it. I don't ever go on the app. I don't go on the website. I just, if I think of a song I want to listen to or a podcast I want to hear, that's when I just start talking to the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you use the Apple, what do they call it, CarPlay?
I do. Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, we spent a lot of time. Jim Shoemaker, a friend of the show, Jim's got a Subaru, and when I bought the 21 Legacy, the Apple CarPlay was awful. It's literally the worst experience I've ever had with Entertainment Center. They've issued 3, 4, maybe more, but at least 3 or 4 updates to that, which is an amazing experience to be able to update your car entertainment center over Wi-Fi.
Well, let
And
me
it's
ask you,
much
how do
faster
you do
now,
that?
much faster. I connect my car to the Wi-Fi either at home or on my phone, and then I just initiate the update. It's no different than a computer
I asked
now.
because I need to do it. My
Yeah.
Apple CarPlay stopped working.
Oh, yeah.
Because the phone updated, now the CarPlay doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I would. What kind of car do you have?
Nissan Murano.
Okay. Yeah, I would. Can you connect your car to a Wi-Fi hotspot, or can you pull it in the garage and connect it to your Wi-Fi?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely close enough to do it. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it.
I'd update it and give it a try. If you can't, take it to the dealership and have them flash it. They can take care of that for you.
You got to do something because
Yeah.
lately I've had like you said, the worst experience. My volume today. I was driving down the road and I went to lower the radio from the steering wheel and it wouldn't lower.
Yep.
So I pressed to turn it up and it wouldn't turn up. So I grabbed the knob and I twisted it, it wouldn't turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, what happened? I had to just shut it off and I was driving yesterday and the volume, when you turn the volume, you can see the little line move across the stereo, the screen. Well, I wasn't touching anything and that line was just going up. It was coming back. I was like, something's obviously not right anymore.
It can be delayed. I know when I was driving to work and I thought I'll just update it, which is dumb. Don't drive anywhere and update your software, right? And now it's not a Tesla, so it's not driving the car, but it did some funny things where it would not. At some point, it locked me out of everything. So just don't do that. Just sit in your driveway, leave the car running, update your software. Subaru has done a nice job of making sure their entertainment systems are updated. So good stuff. Tony says free Max. This is the other thing. Free Max with AT&T Fiber, right? Free Netflix and Apple TV with my T-Mobile service. Oh. This is the other thing to check into is like, hey, there may be bundles, but these things are weird. The way these bundles work, they work for a while and then they don't. The last thing, like, oh yeah, we get free. I think for a while I was getting Hulu with Sprint. Now Sprint's T-Mobile. That lasted for a while until it didn't, and then until you're like,
their deal runs out.
And Sarah doesn't care. She's like, why isn't this working? Why can't I get through to Hulu? She doesn't care that I've done all these deals to get this stuff done, right?
Do you use Plex?
No, I use channels as opposed to Plex. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Plex, and it's also, I don't know how it works because I've never dived into it, but my wife uses it. She watches like one show that's only on that, but it connects to a server of a friend of ours. So we can watch movies off his server, which is a weird thing to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. You for sure can share movies on Plex. Yeah. No, that's a whole, listen, Plex is a whole different group of legacy stuff. This community, Jay, that I'm talking to right now has years of Plex history of how to make this thing work. Yeah.
Well, someone's going to have to tell me how to use it because I can't figure it out.
Yeah, there's a name for that. I'll have to do a whole show.
I'm sure it's called wrong. Hey, side note real quick.
Today? Yeah.
If you look at this side of my face right now, and I switch, this is light mode.
Okay.
And then that's dark mode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can see a little bit of a difference.
So,
yeah. For me, Jay, it was really just staring at a white screen.
Oh, yeah.
And I just like dark mode better. Yeah, I like dark mode better. I don't think I have enough light in here that as I switch them
40
back and
monitors,
forth.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and they're all on right now because I got the football game on going. By the way, 13-10 Chiefs lead at this point. No spoilers.
Too late. I know you have the whole boatload of monitors,
Yeah.
and you say 11, but I know there's more. How many are hooked up to one device? What's the most hooked up to one device?
Ooh. 4. Well, okay, I have a laptop that drives its screen plus 3.
So 4.
Yeah. Yeah. 4. And I do more, but that's all the docking station supports.
Now, is that a Mac laptop or a PC?
No, it's work. It's my work. It's a Dell. It's a Dell laptop.
Yeah, my work one is a Dell, and I connect the Dell screen plus 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my Mac, I've got 2. But my laptop, I don't use the extra monitors with the Mac laptop.
Yeah. At work, I just have one ultra wide in my laptop, and that works just fine at work. Could I do more monitors? Yeah. Yeah, I could. There's some things I could do. I can always spread out things on monitors.
Well, we've got this subject up. Do you mind? Can I ask a question on it?
Yeah,
Take a short
sure.
tangent.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
I have two computers here, personal ones, not my work. I have a MacBook Pro and I have the Mac Mini, and they both work great. I use the Mac Mini for the production computer that does the streaming and does all the audio stuff that we do. I use the MacBook Pro for everything else. They're both reaching to the point where I could probably get away with swapping them out for a new one. I was originally looking at the Mac Mini Studio and going that route, and then getting the MacBook Pro just to replace the one I have. But I was thinking maybe instead of doing that, to go for a bigger MacBook Pro and use it for everything. And I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, because the biggest benefit I have of the Mac Mini right now is it only does production computer stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something for me. There's something about having a dedicated PC that just sits there that you're not moving around. Now, that being said, in the last 5 years, laptops are basically the same as having a desktop. Now, you plug it into a docking station, make sure the screens are where you want it, you're off to the races. As far as processing power goes, yeah, your desktop's, your dedicated mini is going to have actually kind of depends now.
Right.
Right? Your laptop may be more powerful than your mini, right?
Yeah, mine definitely is right here.
Yeah. So, you think, well, okay, I'll put this off on dedicated equipment. Do you need to? Now, I kind of like for podcasting, I like to have dedicated equipment because I know every week I can just come to it and it's not going to have something funky with it.
Right.
On the Windows side of things, funky is its middle name. Like, it's always funky on Windows. Now, I don't have a Mac laptop. I don't know. I don't have that experience of moving in between environments, so I don't know for sure. Jay, you'd probably know better than me. But I have a Mac Mini M1. As soon as that M4 comes out, I am buying it for sure. Like, that's the next upgrade for me to go onto the M4 when that thing comes out.
And the cost isn't that bad. It's like $800, $799.
It's $1,000. It's going to be $1,000, right?
Yeah,
for the version I'm getting. Yeah, for the version I'm getting. Yeah, it'll be $1,000. But I've had this for a couple years. I'm going to get a trade-in for it of some kind. Even if it's a couple $100, it'll be good enough for me. I've gotten great use out of it. It's been a full-time computer by the time I get it, for 3 years. I've never turned it off. Like, it's been awesome, right?
You don't turn your Mac Mini off?
No.
I turn the Mac Mini off. I don't turn the laptop off ever.
Yeah.
It's been on since day one, since I bought it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, to be honest with you, on the Mac side, I don't know if there's that much difference between the Mini and the
Oh, no, it's the same thing.
Right?
The Mini is a laptop.
Yeah.
My question, my concern is, like, I use Pro Tools, and the reason why I always used a dedicated system is because Pro Tools used to be finicky. Like, because if you update your operating system past Pro Tools, then you can't work it. So it used to be finicky like that. And then also, I can't take Pro Tools on the road with me. Where if I had it on my laptop, I'd be able to take it on the road with me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I go back and forth. I like the dedicated production computer, but I also like the convenience of the laptop.
Okay, if it's me in this setup here down here, I'm going to do both. I'm going to have a Mac Mini that serves a couple screens, and to be honest with you, my Mini just has one ultra wide on it. That's it. I don't run multiple when the M1 Mini came out, it had multiple monitor problems to start with. So I just kind of brought it onto a single monitor and left it that way. The Windows PCs generally handle multiple monitors much better. They just do. Now you may argue with me on that. Listening, you might, for there's folks screaming at me right now in their car who are saying that's not true, Jim. You're a liar, or whatever. Okay, for me, the Windows boxes handle multiple monitors way better than the Macs have. For me, this is me personally. Now,
how are you connecting your monitors?
Well, I mean, I was using the HDMI for one, and an HDMI to DVI or something like that for the second one, right? And when these Mac Minis came out,
that's what I'm doing now. I've got HDMI on one, and then I've got a USB to HDMI for the other.
Yeah. And when I first got the Mac Mini, it wouldn't shut off because the monitors wouldn't go to sleep because of that problem. They had problems. And when I would bring them back, they didn't work well. And I'm like, okay, I get this. This is it was an M1. It was a brand new chip. And they were still figuring things out. They actually I think they've got that all worked out now. Now, for me, okay, I really just want to drive it off one monitor. I've got a big gaming rig that's got a giant GPU in it that runs a couple other monitors. That's what it's kind of built for, right? So I'm kind of for me, I don't need my Mac to run a bunch of monitors. It's on an ultra wide, works just fine. The Windows PC, go ahead.
If you have it on an ultra wide, can you set that up to act like two monitors?
I could. I think I could. Yeah.
Because that's the thing for me is Pro Tools has an edit window and a mix window, and I like to have them both up at the same time. Which I know you could set up even if it was just an ultra wide without being able to act like two. But even like StreamYard here, we've got StreamYard on one window, I got a web browser on the other, and when I share it, I share the screen, not the tab. So that way I know anything that's on that screen goes live.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of a benefit.
And on the Mac, I use Rectangle. It's an application to get those screens the way I want them. It's got a bunch of different options. I could get 4 screens on here if I wanted to, right? Type deal. So yeah, for me, that's just the way it worked, right? If I got the M4, would I take one of the screens and try and run a dual screen off the M4? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I need to at this point,
Well, I also have the docking station because there wasn't enough ports on the Mac Mini itself.
Right. Correct. Yeah, you could do it that way. You could run dual monitors off a Mini, make that work, right? But you had to do some adapters. Yeah, do some adapters. So
now you can run monitors off USB by itself now, right?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to think that through.
I think my work laptops, my work monitors are USB only.
Yeah. USB-C, you mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw a graphic the other day that had the history of USB. And I was like, holy buckets.
The different iterations of it.
Yes. They're like, you kind of, with USB, you kind of have to stop and think. And with USB-C, you definitely have to stop and think. And you're like, okay, what's the cable say? Is it 3, 4, 5? Is it got a little lightning bolt on it or doesn't it? For some cases on the Windows side of things, you've got these weird, like, okay, this is okay to plug power into, but you can't plug anything else into it. Or so plug power into this one, but this one will take power and a docking station on the same computer. You're like, what are you guys doing? What?
Well,
it's
the
a mess.
Docking station goes through USB-C by itself, but it has 40 more connections on it. What if you use all 40 of those connections? Is that one USB-C?
Yeah.
Does it handle it?
Yeah. And one of the things I learned with docking stations is they definitely have some support 2 extra monitors, even though they'll have 4 monitor ports. So only support 2 extra monitors, some support 3, some will do 4. Some laptops on that USB-C connection will do 2, 3, or 4, depending upon the laptop. So you have to read the documentation. Like, this is one of those things I bought. I bought a laptop from work and I set it up. It was an older laptop, only 2. That's all it supports. 2 extras itself and 2 extras. The next one I got issued from work, 3. It could do 3, right? And so you're like, well, I'd love to put that one up there when I got the work laptop doing something else, but then it's a whole different. Then I have a monitor that just doesn't work. That drives me crazy. Like, to have a monitor up and it doesn't work.
That would drive you crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
On my laptop,
sure.
my personal laptop, I only use the laptop screen. But my work laptop, when I was only using that screen as well, but now I've gotten used to go into the office and I hook it up to the docking station, have those 2 other monitors, and to have things I can just place there for reference is so nice.
No, it is. It is nice. Yeah, I think once you get used to a lot of screen real estate, you never go back. This is the thing. I can't go back. I'm just like,
Obviously
even
you have NASA in your office.
I do. And in the studio at work, I have 5. So you're like, I love having screen real estate. It just helps me out a bunch. Jay, we're a little bit over time. I mean, it's a podcast. We can go as long as we want, but we've got live folks, and some of them are
2 or 3
dropping
more
out.
hours then.
One more thing I want to talk about before we go, and it's just a personal thing. Back in the Mike Uyghur days, we spent a lot of time talking about crypto. And just today, one from an experience, I got a note from NiceHash. If you remember back in the days of when Mike and I were doing crypto, NiceHash was a application you could download to your computer. It would use your GPU or CPU. It would optimize the mining for the best price you could get on whatever was available out there, and it would mine that. And so you ended up getting a whole bunch of different coins and stuff. It was kind of crazy. It was fun when we did it. NiceHash just sent me an email this week that said, hey, if you're not using us, we're going to start charging you a service fee. Many of you, if you used it, you might have anywhere from $20 to $2,000 out there, sitting out there. For some of you who are using it early, you might be surprised how much you have out there, because Bitcoin's gone up quite a bit since the last time you checked it. So you might want to log in to NiceHash, see what you got out there, and move it. Move it to something else. Move it to another wallet. You definitely don't want them taking a service charge from you. If you're not using it anymore, might be a good idea to get away from it. I just moved it all into Coinbase and have it available to me now. I had a couple $100 out there, and for some of you who are doing it with me, you might have been a part of the hack. They had a hack. A lot of people's money got stolen. They promised to give it back. Jay, they did. They actually did give it all back. It's kind of crazy, but they did.
Did they get it back and then give it back, or did they just give it back?
I don't exactly know how that worked.
Because it'd be impressive if they just gave it back.
Yeah. Well, they're making a lot of money, so I bet they just gave it back. I don't think they got it back. I think it disappeared, and then from their profits, they gave it back. Good. John says, should we close your NiceHash account? That's up to you. You don't have to. That's a good question, John. If it's zero balance, what are they going to take the money from? They just gave it back to us. I'm pretty sure they finished that in December of 2022. I'll be honest with you, I forgot about it, Jay. This is one of those things, like, you just forget about it. And then they sent me the email, which may have been the worst thing they ever did, but I'm sure they were obligated to. It said, hey, we're going to start giving you a service charge. And I'm like, Jim ain't paying no service charge. So that moved to NiceHash, or to Coinbase. And here's this. Listen, on the way out, here's why Bitcoin is not ready for prime time. So I moved $350, let's call it that, from NiceHash to Coinbase. Took 9 hours. Like,
why?
not, yeah, exactly. And you're like, that's not a very, although to be honest, a banking transaction could take at least that long, if not longer, just to be honest. So, I rip Bitcoin for that, but we kind of live in a world of instant cash movement. I'll do something at my credit union, it instantly shows up somewhere, or you kind of.
But technically, why would it take that long? I mean, is there a reason for it to take that long?
That's just the way the blockchain works. That's just the way the blockchain. It's got to do some things, and then it's done, and then it shows up. So I was like, this could take you a day. Okay, well, that's fine. It's going to take a day. It's not like I was in a hurry to get it done. John says, tempted to fire up my mining rig once more. John, don't do it. Don't. It's terrible right now. Don't do it. Don't. I know you want to. Don't do it. Just don't do it. So if you were hanging out with Mike and I, you were doing crypto, right now may be a good time just to consolidate your crypto wallets, see what you have out there, make sure you can get still signed into them, some of those kinds of things, and move those in to something you can get access to. Jay, well, I think it's 13-10. Anything else? 13-10. Chiefs are winning at this point. They just kicked off for the second half. They just started.
No spoilers.
It's going to be a long night. Anything else before we wrap it up?
No, I've looked up the prices for every one of those plans if you care about those, but
yeah.
Other than that,
Joe just said he had $46 there that he forgot about. So Joe, there you go. Thanks for
he's buying
letting us know. Yeah, you can go out there and get the $46. Jay, you were supposed to be on a couple weeks ago. We had the whole power outage. Thanks for being flexible with us. We got a lot of material out of that power outage, and there will still be some more to come. John earlier in the show had said because I had mentioned maybe putting the generator in the spring. I'm in no hurry at this point. I've been kind of waiting for fall to get here because I got to shut the house down for a couple hours. I don't want to do that during the hottest part of the day. So we'll probably wait for fall, put that in, maybe spring. I'm kind of waiting on some pricing for stuff. I'm going to buy the generator from Harbor Freight. And I also want to talk, I have a service scheduled for my furnace and air conditioner. And I want to talk to the tech about, Mike had talked about installing this soft start on your air conditioner, which basically sits between, when your air conditioner starts, the condenser fires up and it takes a gigantic amount of watts. 3 to 10,000, depends on how old your air conditioner is. 3 to 10,000 watts to get that. It could be more actually to get that thing started. It's a bunch of amps. Take your watts. Remember, watts are amps times volts. So most of you have 240 for your volts. Multiply that times the number of amps it's pulling. That gives you the number of watts that you have. So in a soft start, in a regular start of your air conditioner, it just pulls everything it can, literally, because you have unlimited service on. You have unlimited watts basically on what you're pulling from the pole, right? Air generator, no, not so much. That's not unlimited. So I got to talk to my AC guy and say, hey, what do you think of these soft starts? We'll talk to Mike about that here in, I don't know, a month when he comes back on.
I'll be interested to see that.
Yeah.
I saw a generator that installed outside like your air conditioning unit would. I just saw that recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll watch that one for sure just because it's something that I think I need here at the house.
Yeah, well, I got this you do too. I got this new air conditioner. I don't want to void the warranty. It's got a 5-year, I think I've got a 5-year warranty on the thing, and I don't want to void it by putting one of those soft starts on it. So I need to make sure I talk to them and say, hey, would that void the warranty if I do this? Because it could pull, so the documentation says it pulls 87 amps or could pull up to 87 amps when it starts. Well, 240 times 87, it's a lot of watts. Then you start looking at generator sizes and you're like, holy crap, you got to get a pretty big generator. And it's just at start. It drops down to, 4 amps, 5 amps when it's running. It's just that initial spin up of the fan that takes so much juice, right? That soft start in between, what it does is it feeds it in slowly instead of just one big pump right at the beginning. So Michael talks some more about that coming up. That's a $400 part. So this is not cheap going into the soft start. And I want to make sure I'm not spending $400 and voiding the warranty on the air conditioning, right?
It'd be interesting to see if it'd be worth it. Like, will you save that? Will you save any electricity from it? Will you save on the life of your unit from the wear and tear of it?
It is supposed to save on the compressor, which is the most expensive thing on your unit, right? Listen, the A-frame and the outdoor fan, those are the two most expensive things. The compressor is next. And so, you're like, if it's doing a soft start and saving, and that saves the compressor, okay, maybe for $400.
Tangent, maybe it's worth do you pay for the extra insurance for those units?
No. Like an extended warranty, you mean?
No, like the homeowner stuff that you get. Not the homeowner's insurance itself, but they sell these add-on packages to take care of your appliances and stuff.
No, like home warranties? Yeah, no, I just pay for them. I haven't done those home warranties. I do have a warranty for like the sewer line that goes out to the street that I pay a little, like $15 a month or something to, that thing goes bad. That's $15,000 to fix. So I was like, it's probably worth $15 a month.
I didn't know they made one for that.
Yeah. It's outside sewer line. We have an insurance policy on that thing. So anyways, well, Jay, again, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. You're always fun to chat with. Thanks for hanging out with me
pleasure.
tonight. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Yeah. Can you hang for 1 second as I close this thing?
Gladly do so.
All right. Mentioned a little bit earlier. No, actually I didn't. If you want to join the Discord group, you can do that, theaverageguy.tv/Discord, and the great conversations go on over there. If you want to leave me a message, you can do that, a voice message, 30 seconds. Send it over to homegadgetgeeks.com. It's a great way to get something into the show. I'll play it on the show if I can. Just send me an email, jim@theaverageguy.tv, so I make sure I see it when it's out there. TheAverageGuy.tv platform, both web and media hosting, powered by Maple Grove Partners. Get secure, reliable, high-speed hosting from people that you know and trust. And, of course, that's Christian over there at Maple Grove Partners. He's got inflation fighting plans. Say that 10 times fast. Inflation. There we go. I'm tired. Inflation fighting plans. I still can't say it. $10. Start at $10. Check it out today, maplegrovepartners.com. We are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, out here at theaverageguy.tv/live. Christian joins me next week. Marv B joins me the week after that, so you're going to want to join us for those. Scheduling more as we go, so don't not giving up, at least today. And we'll be back next week with some more great stuff. And maybe a new platform, or maybe on Ecamm. Next week, we'll give it a try. You can come out and see the train wreck of a new platform. For those of us joining live, thanks for coming out. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody. This game is a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, Jay.
See, I should have put it on so I at least know what you were talking about.
There's been moments of brilliance where you think, oh, the Chiefs are unstoppable. And then not so much. They only scored a touchdown and kicked 2 field goals, and it's pretty close. So John says, yeah, he's surprised how close it is. I thought it was going to be 1,000 to 998 the way they started that thing. And then, yeah, if Tucker wouldn't have missed it, it would be tied right now. So good stuff. Jay, thanks again for coming on. Always fun to have you. So I appreciate your insight. Good thoughts on your laptop, Mac Mini. You keep one, just go with one. Are we at a spot where you could just have one again? Do you really need to?
Yeah, I'm torn. I really am torn, because when I was heavily doing all the music production, I absolutely kept the production computer separate.
Yeah.
But now the only thing I use the production computer for is the actual stream itself, and then the edit on Pro Tools.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's interesting. The mindset is different when you got this portable device that you're taking around with you. It's got a smaller keyboard, it's got a smaller screen, and you kind of think, "Oh, I don't want to do production stuff on that. I just want to do email or whatever you're doing, right?" Then you got your mini, which is slower, lower power, less RAM, probably,
but that's all it does.
and right, and it's dedicated. And so it's just different how you
have you ever
think about
experienced
that.
an iLock?
No.
And an iLock is they make an actual cloud one now, but it's a USB dongle that holds all your serial numbers for your software. So you install the software on your computer, and it looks for that iLock, and then it'll let you run it. Well, now I've got the iLock in the cloud, so if you don't have internet access, you can't use the software. So that bothers me. And if I had the iLock, I would be able to take it out of the actual physical USB one. I could take it out of this and put it in the laptop, and I could go back and forth.
Yeah.
So I might go back to something like that, but I'm just torn. I need to buy 2 computers right now, so I can either buy one supercomputer or just replace the 2 I have.
I always liked the idea of a laptop that could be completely portable and light, but when I brought it home, I could put it into a docking station. I wouldn't open it.
Right.
I'd put it into a docking station, leave it closed, and it
becomes a Mac Mini.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always
I liked, and I think honestly we're to that point. I think I'd buy a Mac laptop with the power. I'd spend the money on that, and then I'd figure out when I'm home and I'm plugging it in, what's the configuration when I'm on the road and using it as a laptop. And the Chiefs almost scored. Oh, they scored. It was a scrum. They were literally standing there at the goal line for like 7 seconds. They can give it to him, touchdown. But I like that. I down here, I have a couple laptops that I wanted to do with that, and I tried to figure out positions or places I could put the laptop closed, or I could just set it down, plug it in. Now I've got some laptops that have some pretty nice screens. So, do I want to keep the lid closed or do I want to use that as another screen? Right, because I'm a screen hog.
I would want to keep it open.
Yeah.
Even at work, I have an extra keyboard and mouse, but I bounce between the extra keyboard and mouse and the laptop. But I want the flexibility of the laptop. I use the laptop 95% of the time. I use it for everything. The only thing is
Pro, right? You'd go with a MacBook Pro, right?
Yeah, that's what I have now. That's what I would go with. I would end up spending the money to get
I get a super spec'd out. Are the MacBook Pros M3 or M2 or M4 or that they get? I might actually wait till the MacBook Pros get M4s. That's probably what I would do.
I'll check right
if they're because I don't think they release the iPad Pros on M4, but I don't think that those have made their way to the MacBook Pros.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
I could never figure out Apple's naming convention. Windows has 1,000 different ones, and I'm perfectly fine with those. But the 3 that is in an Apple MacBook Pro, the 3 that Apple has, I can't figure out. I don't know what the. That's right. M3. So the MacBook Pros came out with the M3. That's right. But I would wait until they go from M3 to M4. I think M3 was an intermediate step that I don't know if I'd go with, to be honest. Do you have to buy now?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think
the only reason I even thought about it because my laptop, I just upgraded the operating system to the most recent one, only because something I think it was Chrome or something running StreamYard required it. But my MacBook Mini, I could probably get away with upgrading the operating system on it, but then I'd have to upgrade Pro Tools as well. And right now, everything's working.
Yeah. No, right on. Yeah, and a 16-inch MacBook Pro, they're $2,500. So it's a significant investment, but
that's for the cheap one. 3,500
yeah,
for the big one.
yeah.
Oh, it goes even higher.
Well, it'll be interesting to
4,000.
see. I think we're going to see later this fall or early next spring. I think we're going to see the mini refresh of an M4. See you, John. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Thank
you, John.
He said connect with him, by the way, if you want to talk about that hot water heater. I need to have him on to talk about that thing. So Paul Brarian did it. He's done it now. I don't know if I could do it because the volume of that thing, he says it's pretty loud. He says
that would suck because mine's right here on the other side of this.
No, I'm in the same boat. It's just around the corner. And I can't have my hot water heater making a racket. Yeah. I mean, as efficient as it is, I can't have it making a racket.
You know what's funny is directly above me. Well, I got my kid's bedroom here, but right above me in the front is the bathroom. So if anybody flushes the toilet, I could just hear it all the way down.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, this whole new kickoff rule in the NFL, right? They during the you know what I'm talking about. They move the lineup in the NFL. So when they kick off now, the kicker kicks from the same spot, but everybody lines up super close, and the ball has to land between the 20 and the goal line, and if it goes into the end zone, it comes out to the 30. I think is that where it comes out to? Yeah. So it's a whole new kickoff rule. And during preseason, everybody tried these different kinds of kicks, squib kicks and curving kicks and all these other kinds of things. Every kick that Butker has kicked has gone into the end zone. It's gone out. It has made literally no difference in the I think they figured just kick it through the end zone. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So it's, you got to kind of wonder. They're experimenting with it this year to see how it's going to work. But all right, live folks, we've kept you long enough. Thanks for coming out. John's already checked out. To Tony, Joe, Ken, although I think Ken left too. Tony, I think I said you already. John, all those guys, thanks for coming out tonight. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you back here next week. I think I mentioned, I think I got Christian, right? I think he's coming up next week. He is. And so come out and join me next Thursday, the 12th, and we'll see you then. Jay, hang tight for 1 second. We'll see you guys next week.